Lucky Boys Podcast.
Filipinos, out of all the Asians, right, the ones with the most pride, I would say top two, I'm going to say Filipino and Korean, hands down.
Oh,
you guys are like neck and neck.
I feel like as a Filipino, Korean's number one.
I think Koreans are probably up there.
Wait. Yeah. Do you consider Filipinos as Asian American?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because a lot of I think a good mix of like almost 50-50.
Well,
like
when
Filipinos
you say
Asian,
Asian, you mean Filipino Americans if they're Asian American, right?
Yeah.
Like not like if the Philippines are part of Asia.
Wait, why wouldn't Filipinos be Asian?
Well, because they say like Pacific Islander or whatever the case is. To be honest, I consider it part of the Asian American.
But it's still Asian Pacific.
Right. That and also our experience. It's really the experience, right? Like because of our similar upbringing, like traditions, like if you say, Spanish American or Latino American, like the way that their households are brought up is, I want to say wildly different than like a Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Filipino. But like the reason why we may resonate sometimes is because like the way that my parents brought me up, even though we look wildly different, the culture is very similar. Yeah. The way we brought up on food, the way we're brought up on like togetherness and family.
I want to go back. Why do you say Koreans beat Filipinos? Because to me, I always going like, damn, y'all got mad pride. Y'all carry your flags around. I remember Filipinos would wear like the beaded Filipino flags, like the Puerto Ricans. Remember? That was how. And 100%. I seen, and everybody had, if y'all didn't wear it, if I went to your houses, y'all had it hanging somewhere. Yeah. That next to your rosary.
Right.
Every Filipino.
It's true.
My girlfriend, everybody. I was just like, all of y'all had a meeting and say, y'all got to wear this shit? Like, I'd never seen Korean people wear like Korean flags around their neck.
Because they talk about it all the time. So like,
you don't have to wear it. So in your experience, what makes you think that like Korean, and I'm not arguing against that because y'all neck and neck.
The reason why I want to say it is because I noticed that Filipino Americans, they tend to, again, and this is just like from my experience, right? They tend to like be towards a particular type of other
Filipino
culture. So it's like you can be more like the Asian Filipino, more with the Asians. So like you hang out with Chinese and Korean, and you sort of assimilate. You do all like you all karaoke and do all that stuff. But then there's like the Filipinos that like hang out with more like Spanish and Black and Afro Caribbean. Like it's almost like two different types of Filipinos. And then there's the Filipino Americans who just straight up hang out with just Filipinos. Whereas Korean Americans, in my experience, just Korean Americans. I mean, granted, they might have various friends in different cultures, but the idea is like there's a lot of, from what I've experienced, maybe in the neighborhoods, I grew up in Queens and stuff, and there is like a good population of Koreans, good population of Filipinos, but Koreans, like, they go hard.
They go hard for one another, man.
Right.
Yeah. Like they back each other up. Like they what I've seen, and this is so, like I admired like Jews and Koreans.
Right.
Their communities, like they back each other up in businesses. They help promote each other.
And that's what it is.
They combine their purchasing power to increase their
the next thing I wanted to talk about
their power. Like
was
I just,
it's
sure.
like,
oh my gosh.
There's no, in my experience, there's no birthright for Asians, but Koreans do it anyways. Maybe Japanese people might do it. Chinese people, it's like there's too many of you guys, like whatever.
And they know their way around tax laws and stuff.
Right.
They'll buy a crib and be like, it's a church.
Right. And they'll literally like set up funds to help.
I'm a pastor.
Koreans.
I'm a pastor. Come through. I ain't paying taxes on this shit.
And I noticed,
or a synagogue. It's like they're smart with how they.
Right. And I noticed with Filipino culture, like again in my experience, Filipinos, if they leave the Philippines, that's it. We're gone. Like, of course, there's pride, but there's not a lot of like, okay, let's put money back into the country because the country is such a like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a whole other conversation. But we got like, I see my parents' friends, all that stuff. Like, we have pride for the Philippines, but they're not trying to go back.
I think it's pride for like the culture. I feel like versus like the place.
Yeah, my wife's parents, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, they want to go back in the Philippines to the country. They love.
Do you want to retire there?
That's their. They want to go there. Yeah, absolutely. They just they love the weather. Like
the weather.
They just love that hot ass weather. Yeah. Like it's when it's summertime, they're like like it's. My wife's gonna kill me because she hates when I impersonate them. But it's like they love it. They love the warm weather. And I love my mother-in-law. She's amazing.
Has to say that for the podcast.
No, I love my mother-in-law, man. Like I treat her like I would treat my own mom. You know what I mean? I love her. That's for the record. But I see your point with the Koreans. Okay, I get